Just because you are on the same side does not mean you have to get along. Welcome back, Nerd Squad. Today we'll be looking at some of the goody-goodies, that is the superheroes, who despite being deemed as such just can't seem to get along with others. We'll be examining the beef between superheroes and where they started. Sometimes it's different ideologies that separate them, or a specific incident where one questioned the acts of the other that drives a wedge between some of the heroes and makes it hard for them to quit duking it out, when they should probably be linking up to take down evil together. So get ready to put on those red lantern rings and channel that inner rage and hate as we count down the top 10 superheroes who hate each other. Part 4! That's right, part 4. Sasha had parts 1 through 3 and now it's my turn to drive the hate mobile. And if you haven't seen our parts 1 through 3, feel free to check them out. There are a lot of good epic feuds mentioned throughout. Be sure to stick around till the end of this video as well for some bonus content. Alright, let's get counting. Number 10. Hawkeye and Winter Soldier. Hawkeye and Winter Soldier are forced to team up in the Tales of Suspense. Both seem to be on the case of tracking down Natasha, aka Black Widow, or someone who is acting as her copycat and killing off Hydra agents, as Natasha is supposed to be dead. It turns out that they are right and that she did die, but also she came back as a clone. Always clones. Turns out the Red Room made copies of her in case she was ever killed, and that they do this so they never truly lose an agent. This is that awful clone thing I'm always talking about in videos, if you remember that, in regards to Black Widow. Black Widow ends up getting her memories restored by a bear. Yes, you heard right, a bear. Natasha comes up with a plan to take down the Red Room, but tries to keep Clint and James out of it as she knows they'll only get in her way. The two continuously bicker in this saga, and when Clint first runs into Bucky, he actually introduces him by confessing that he kind of hates him. Although it's odd because this is never really fully explained as to why they both don't really like each other. I guess it's because they both dated Black Widow, like they're both her exes? Or just because maybe they're very different people? They both put up with each other long enough to complete their mission, and then pretty much immediately part ways. Number 9. Catwoman and Zatanna. Zatanna did a mind wipe of Dr. Light and as such had to mind wipe Batman because he ran in and tried to stop her while she was in the middle of it. Being a powerful magic user has its consequences. You can do great things, powerful things, but you know, people are going to judge you for it. When what she had done came to light, pun not intended there, Batman especially was pretty upset with her. His trust had been broken and his friendship with Zatanna had been ruined. Granted, he still wanted to work with her. When Catwoman found out that Zatanna had also tampered with her mind and as such changed the entire direction of her life, well, she was beyond livid. She didn't want to hear Zatanna out, who had come to confess and apologize. She wanted to just move on, and when that didn't seem possible, she wanted to fight. Zatanna says to Catwoman, "I understand why you hate me," but Catwoman responds, "Hate is a strong word, Zatanna, and it's not even close to strong enough to describe what I think of you." Woo! Number 8. Tim Drake and AZRAEL. Really, I could also include Nightwing in there too, as both Robins were not a fan of AZBAT. AZRAEL took up the Batman mantle after Bruce had his back broken by Bane in the events of Nightfall. Bruce decided to leave the mantle in Jean-Paul's capable hands, but becoming Batman drove Jean-Paul to madness. Tim disagrees with the fact that AZRAEL kills criminals that he goes up against, and he says as much to him, which gets them in a fight. AZRAEL even feels bad whenever he loses his temper with Robin, but Tim just feels like he is a dangerous, ticking time bomb. When Bruce came back and saw that Gotham seemed to be fairly free of crime, I mean as free of crime for Gotham as anyone can expect anyways, he expressed leaving AZBAT in the role and retiring from the vigilante life. Tim was amazed and confessed that AZBAT had killed. Later, Nightwing also got involved and the three decided that AZRAEL needed to be stopped. Bad AZBAT. Number 7. Batman and Guy Gardner. The hatred between these two goes back to the old days of the Justice League International. Guy constantly nagged Batman, who was leading the league, trying to get more authority from him, but was always briskly denied by the Bat. And one day, Guy decided he had had enough of Bruce's leadership. Guy thought he should lead the league and challenge Batman to a fight to prove himself. He swore he could take on Batman in hand-to-hand combat without the power of his ring. This resulted in what is commonly referred to as the one-punch event. Batman took Guy Gardner down with one swift punch to the face, causing Blue Beetle to exclaim, "One punch! One punch!" Ever since that day, and obviously even before that, the two have never gotten along. Number 6. Bishop and Cable. These two have worked alongside one another before, but the events of the Messiah complex changed their relationship entirely. The first baby since the events of House of M with the X gene is born, and the race is on for all the groups to try and steal it. Two players in this strange game of Pass the Mutant baby are Bishop and Cyclops. The two of them have different beliefs as to what should be done with the baby. Bishop wants to kill her, as in his future she grows up to be the one who kills thousands of people, which causes the mutant concentration camps to exist. Cable wants to save her, as in his future she unites all of man and mutant kind. The two beliefs on what the mutant Messiah represents dramatically divide the two mutants from different futures. In the end, Cable ends up with her and takes her to the future. He names her Hope after his deceased wife, and she grows up to become mutant Hope Summers. No baby for you, Bishop, no baby for you. Number 5. Miss Marvel and Rogue. These two have been on better terms with one another lately, but their hatred was fairly long lasting. It was also mostly one-sided. I find a good amount of hate in the comics between the heroes actually is one-sided. It's like someone wants to apologize and the other person just doesn't want to hear it. Rogue basically touched Carol Danvers for too long and ended up draining or absorbing more of her powers than she had intended. She also ended up taking Carol's memories in the process, leaving her a shell of her former self. Miss Marvel went to the X-Men, and more specifically Professor Xavier, for help, and they took her in and did their best to help her in recovery. This is actually where Rogue gets her constant ability to fly. Rogue eventually reformed and joined up with the X-Men. She had stolen Carol's powers during her time with the Brotherhood, and she actually felt bad about what she had done, but also she felt somewhat annoyed as she had to live with a piece of Carol constantly inside her mind. The two women have since made up, with Carol offering forgiveness to Rogue after saving her. Though Rogue did try to absorb Carol's powers again in Avengers vs. X-Men, which did not land well with Carol, but then she became Captain Marvel, and now she's over it. She's got her own stuff going on. Now everyone hates her anyways. Number 4. Damian Wayne and Tim Drake. Two Robins that have had a hard time getting along with others. Ergo, it is unsurprising that they both have a hard time getting along with one another. In Tim Drake's defense, he did try to befriend Damien when they first met, only to have Damien try to kill him. Needless to say, from there, Tim was riding that hate train pretty hard, even going so far as to attack Damien when he first shows back up at the manor, announcing that Ra's al Ghul has returned and is after him. Neither one trusts the other. Damien thinks Tim is unworthy and does not deserve to fight alongside his father, as he is not his rightful son. Tim just thinks Damien is a crazed assassin. And well, I mean, he sort of is. Number 3. Captain Marvel and She-Hulk. After the events of Civil War II, a lot of people were feeling some pretty strong hatred towards Captain Marvel. Where Iron Man was painted as the bad guy in the first Civil War between him and Cap, Captain Marvel had now stepped into being the bad guy in Civil War II, going up against Iron Man. While Iron Man obviously had some beef with Captain Marvel coming out of the event after he awoke from, the coma that she put him in, the two had been close before, so eventually they worked towards patching things up. She-Hulk had missed almost the entire event of Civil War II, except for the one event that instigated the divide. In that fight, however, she was knocked into a coma. When she awoke, she discovered that her cousin Bruce Banner, the Hulk, had been killed. Jennifer was shattered and ended up turning gray as a result. She primarily blamed Captain Marvel for this, as the one who believed in using Inhuman Ulysses' visions. Hawkeye believed that Bruce was about to transform into Hulk and unleash mass death and destruction, and mercifully killed him with an arrow to the head. Jennifer was fighting alongside Danvers before the events of Civil War, but the death of her cousin shattered their friendship. Number 2. Old Man Logan and Old Man Hulk. In the dystopian world of Old Man Logan's story, Bruce has pretty much lost his mind. He and his inbred brood of children and grandchildren are the Hulk Gang. Banner's children were sired by him and his cousin, She-Hulk, apparently. Ew. The Hulk Gang are the landlords of the town that Wolverine lives in with his partner and their children. Bruce is no longer the gentle giant he once strived to be. The gamma radiation has seemingly driven him mad. He and his brood demand payment from Old Man Logan. Logan agrees to help Hawkeye with a job in order to get the funds he needs for rent. Unfortunately, when he arrives back in town with the funds, he finds out he is too late. The Hulks got bored apparently and came over and killed his family. Logan then takes the fight to Banner, who when transformed is stronger than he's ever been. He devours Logan, but Logan gets him back in the end, regenerating within Hulk's stomach and then cutting his way out, killing Banner and avenging his family's death. Number 1. Black Widow and Hawkeye. Okay, so we have to go to an alternate universe for this one, but it still happened. The ultimate universe is where we're going, of course. In that universe, almost everyone hates Black Widow after she turns out to be be a traitor. Traitor! She and Iron Man are about to get married when she turns on him and kills Jarvis. Ah! She was the one behind the death of Hawkeye's family as well, and the kidnapping of Hawkeye. Fortunately, Tony Stark had just gifted her a suit of armor, which meant she had nanite implants, and unfortunately for Natasha, Tony had control of those implants, so he was able to knock her out and have her captured pretty much immediately. While Natasha was in the hospital, Hawkeye had escaped his captors and he came straight for her. He shot arrows through her hands and pinned her to the wall before putting an arrow right in her skull. No one messes with Hawkeye's family, and you definitely do not want to be on his hate list. Thanks for watching, Nerd Squad. What are some of your favorite superhero beefs? Are there any superheroes that hate one another that you feel like we missed? We've already listed 40, but there are definitely a ton more. Let us know in the comments below your thoughts, and if you want to see maybe, I don't know, a part 5 to this list and have us keep the hate flowing. Speaking of comments, it's time for that bonus content as I respond to some of your comments from my last video. Top 10 superheroes who hate working together. So much hate! Mr. Friendship says, number 1 Megamind and Metro Man. If there's a sequel, please make this happen, please? Yo, I always love your comments, they make me smile. I would love to talk Megamind and Metro Man on a part 2. But also, do we consider Megamind a hero? I guess by the end of the film he is. I love supervillains turned superhero stories. Curtis Ball says, Amanda Misty McKnight, MJ the Black Widow herself. As always, great list. Number 1 Deadpool and everyone else. Number 2 to 10 everyone else. Good suggestion for this list, my friend. No one really likes working with Deadpool. Aw, poor Deadpool. I always feel like he is so much fun teaming up too. Also, thank you for the kind words. Should I bring my MJ back for one of our Halloween vids? What do you guys think? Alright, that's all the time we have for comments today. Be sure to like, sub, and ring our bell if you haven't already. This is Top 10 Nerd and I'm your host Amanda McKnight, reminding you to stay nerdy, YouTube.